Hello, and welcome to another Ascend teaching. The title of this teaching is When Systems Fail, Leading Change Instead of Managing Dysfunction. My name is Oluwakemi Odujirin. I am the founder of Proactive Social Workers and the Ascend Leadership Framework. In part 1 of this teaching, I'll be talking about the leadership blind spot. Why organizations keep solving the wrong problems. When the same problems keep returning, leadership should stop asking who failed and begin to ask, what is the system teaching us? Today, I would like to challenge one of the biggest misconceptions in leadership, because many organizations believe they sometimes have a people problem. But in reality, it is often a systems problem. When services repeatedly miss targets, staff may become overwhelmed, managers feel unsupported, complaints increase, and the morale declines. The immediate response sometimes is to ask, who's responsible? Who isn't performing? Which team is failing? And these questions are understandable. But research suggests that they are often the wrong questions that's being asked. The better question is, what is it about our system that is producing these results? And this is one of the most important leadership shifts that we need to make. Leadership is responsible for systems. One of the pioneers of quality improvement, Dr. W. Edwards Deming, argued that approximately 94% of workplace problems arise from the system rather than the individual. His point was not that individuals should not be held accountable, but rather the system should be looked at first to see if it is designed to meet the needs that it's meant to meet. We need to look at if the processes are approved and the resources provided are fit for the purpose. Deming repeatedly challenged leaders to stop blaming people for failures when the systems have been poorly built. If incompetent people repeatedly struggle in the same organization, leadership should become curious. Systems produce behavior. Professor Peter Senge, author of The Fifth Discipline, introduced leaders to systems thinking. He argued something remarkably simple. People behave within systems. If the systems encourages delay, people become delayed. If communication is fragmented, people act in a fragmented manner. If decision making is unclear, confusion becomes normal. The behavior we observed is often a reflection of the environment in which people are expected to work. This means leadership should become less interested in who has made a mistake, but be more interested in why did our systems allow this mistake to continue to happen. There is a difference between symptoms and causes, and one of the greatest mistakes organizations can make is confusing symptoms with causes. For example, poor morale, high sickness, increasing complaints, high turnover, low productivity, just to name a few. These are usually symptoms. The real causes may include outdated systems, duplicated processes, unclear accountability, excessive bureaucracy, leadership communication, or insufficient staffing. Treating symptoms without investigating causes creates what system theorist Russell Ackoff describes as doing the wrong things righter. Leaders become busy, but little actually improves. There is a danger of organizational blindness. Professor Edgar Schein, one of the world's leading experts on organizational culture, argued that culture develops through repeated leadership behaviors. Eventually, organizations become accustomed to dysfunction, and people begin saying, that's just how we do things here. That sentence should concern every leader. When poor systems become normal, then the innovation disappears, there's no creativity, challenge reduces, and people stop expecting improvement. So instead of asking, how can we improve this? People start asking, how do we survive this? That is not healthy culture. That is organizational adaptation to dysfunction. Psychological safety and speaking up is important. Professor Amy Edmondson transformed leadership thinking into her research into psychological safety. She found that high-performing organizations create environments where people feel safe to raise concerns without fear, punishment, and embarrassment. And why does this matter? It matters because staff often know when systems are failing. Managers often know, administrators know, frontline practitioners always know. The problem is not a lack of knowledge. The problem is whether leadership creates conditions where people feel safe to say, this process isn't working. Without psychological safety, the problems remain hidden until there becomes a crisis. So therefore, leadership must become more curious. Professor Ronald I. Fites, through adaptive leadership, distinguishes between technical problems and adaptive challenges. Technical problems usually have no solutions. Adaptive challenges require organizations to rethink their assumptions. Many organizations treat adaptive challenges as technical problems. They introduce another form, another panel, another meeting, another spreadsheet. Instead of asking, should we redesign the system altogether? Leadership requires curiosity and not just control. Creativity is a leadership responsibility. One of the greatest myths in organizations is that creativity belongs to the innovation team only. However, the research by Professor Teresa Amabile, one of the world's leading experts on creativity, demonstrates that creativity is strongly influenced by leadership. Creative organizations are led by leaders who ask, what if, why, what are we missing, what could we do or work on differently? Leaders who never question existing systems eventually begin managing decline instead of creating improvement. Creativity is not optional. It is a leadership responsibility. So let us think of systems that extend beyond one service. Another common mistake is believing every problem can be solved within one department. Increasingly, organizations work across partner agencies, different authorities, and voluntary organizations and regulatory bodies. A system is rarely isolated. Changes in one service often create consequences elsewhere. Leadership therefore requires thinking beyond organizational boundaries. Professor Mary Parker Follett, decades ahead of her time, argued that effective leadership creates power with rather than power over. Real improvement comes through collaboration and not isolation. And this is where the Ascent framework comes in. Ascent framework teaches us to anticipate, recognize recurring patterns before they become crises. Repeated problems are data, so we need to pay attention. We need to strategize. We need to complete a whole system diagnostic and ask, what is happening, why, where, who is affected, and what evidence do we have? At Ascend, we cultivate, we create psychological safety, we encourage challenge, listen carefully to frontline staff, and develop collaborative relationships inside and outside the organization. We execute, we implement improvements deliberately and intentionally. We communicate clearly, measure outcomes, and review progress regularly. We navigate by working across organizational boundaries to gain agreement from our senior leaders and engage our stakeholders early. We develop. Every system should continually improve. We need to learn from mistakes and benchmark against excellent organization. We should never become comfortable with dysfunction. So the diagnostic questions every leader should ask is, are the systems clear and our responsibilities understood?